All right, so reloaded the OBS. The OBS just told me it's crashed. I think I've used the OBS here now for probably, I don't know, geez, about 5 years now or so. That's the first time through a broadcast it's actually gone and crashed. Also, too, I don't know whether, well, that could be interesting. I wonder, is YouTube still there? I wonder if there, it says live, 23, 24. I don't know whether it would be the same video or whether it would be a different video. Let's see. I see Ryan's in the lounge there. Actually, you know what? Maybe what we'll do is we'll load up the YouTube page. I wonder if it's a brand new page. Might. So too, hey, I don't know whether. Well, what a mess. Be interesting. I wonder, is YouTube still there? Yeah, there's one person watching. I wonder if there, it says live, 23, 24. I don't know whether it would be the same. What a train wreck. Video. Yeah, well, what can you do? Okay, we're going to get through this. I did kind of joke that it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of all this cycle, this whole fun little dream experiment comes to a crashing halt. Maybe the YouTube, or actually, you know, one thing I did see, and I'll show you this. I thought this was fascinating. Somebody on the site earlier today showed me this, or maybe I don't know. Let's see, because this rocket chat has crashed so many times, it might not even work here. Let's see. Yeah, Cole showed me this in the lounge, and I think I get the impression Cole works in the high tech industry, but I think this is like a solar flare that happened here today. And he was saying that, I don't know what any of this stuff means. Strong solar flare, I guess that's what that means. So he was saying there was a big old solar flare that popped off here, and so all the world's computers are all freaking out right now. So maybe that's what's going on with the rocket chat. I don't know. But I tell you, man, this is it's been a bit of a challenge here this afternoon, that's for sure. I don't even know if we're even broadcasting on YouTube anymore. It looks like we are, but I don't know whether the old video or whether this new video will work or not. And of course, Ben's still trying to get his little one to sleep. So, so what the hell am I going to talk to you guys about tonight? You know, I would like to try and keep these Wednesday shows like specifically crypto. So I thought this was kind of a fun thing, is of course we look at our breadth indicator. First and foremost, crypto on the medium term is getting a little bit overbought. That's concerning me a bit. So whatever the rally is, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of cleanup here. We did have crypto on the short term actually get pretty overbought there as well, but if we actually look at the breadth, you can see that things are calming down a little bit in that regard. So we can see things like the S&P 500 are still looking dangerously overbought. That's that kind of image right there, right? That's bothersome. But it's good to see that crypto in the short term is cleaning itself up. Not so overbought. But unfortunately, this is breaking down. And medium term, we are still pretty overbought here. I mean, just as I kind of told everybody in the public back here, this can only go to zero, folks. And somebody astutely pointed out, thank you very much for that brilliant mathematical observation, Brian. Well, we can only go to 100 here. You can't go any further than that. So we did get a bearish cross here of the fast signal and the slow, but it's kind of good to see that the slow is still sloping upwards, meaning, and actually I like Josh's interpretation. He likes to consider this a weak sell signal, and frankly speaking, I think that's a pretty good observation. I like that thought. I mean, who knows how the hell all this is going to play out. Anyway, shake it. I think we probably just want to cool our jets, and as soon as this thing starts Wing out again, we can all get insanely bullish again. What I did notice is there's a bunch of cryptocurrencies that have jumped up. And if we look at the list, we did it through the daily brief, you know. You see a lot of names have come off of their lows substantially. So the question is, can you go and buy stuff right now? If anything, you probably missed the boat a little bit there. And man, these markets are moving super fast. So if you aren't light on your toes, you might miss the trade. Just be forewarned. All right, so I see that YouTube's back. I don't know what caused OBS to crash there, but maybe we had another solar flare or something and all the computers went nuts. Oh, by the way, everybody should know officially Brian is a chick magnet. Just so we're all fully aware. I like to have these kind of pictures in my background so people, when they go, oh, what a cutie, huh? You know, PMA. Try and keep it lighthearted and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so officially I am a chick magnet, just so you're aware. Oh, goodness. What are we going to talk about tonight? So, I guess one thing that I pointed out, like I said to the site members earlier, you know, actually this Luna is a good example. We sort of talked you through a whole bunch of bullish setups that all developed probably about a week or so ago, eh? Actually, maybe even a few weeks. Actually, wow, look at that. It's almost a full month ago. God, I didn't know it was that long ago. And of course, this is exactly when I moved. How typical. This is twice this has happened now. Literally almost exactly the day that I moved, the goddamn market fucking takes off like a rocket. So there were these trades, and you can see they all played out very well. And there was also... well, actually, it's probably just off of... where are we here? Where's the corn? Bitcoin! I know you're around here somewhere. There you are. Alright, there was all these kind of trades. And actually, you know what I was super pleased with is watching site members. Just saying, you know, all I do is I trade setups. Got to trade the setup. If setup comes in, got to take it. Live by the sword, die by the sword, all that. And it was just beautiful because that's exactly a trader's life. But there's all these kind of trades, you know, through the weekend, all that kind of stuff. And as you can kind of see, talking to site members, you know, if we are thinking bullish, and I guess the last time I did the video was for a site was, I guess, in here when I talked about this yesterday or the day before, kind of saying, well, you know, if we are bullish, okay, well, we got to get a cleanup. And gee whiz, that looks exactly like what's going to happen here. So, you know, we might even just go top, and I mean, it really doesn't matter. I suppose we can just go off of this low here, just simplicity. We did 33, so if I did want to hunt a long setup to continue this move higher, I'm going to draw that off of that low there. Change those to the bot levels. There we go. So you can see down, up, down, up. Am I breaking out? Oh, not quite. Down. Look at this tight little fight going on in here, but clearly you can see if we resolve bull through here, well, we're probably heading up into good old 50 G's. And that would make sense. Big fat round number. In fact, I think I heard a couple people today. I was out just, you know, surfing the web, and actually I ran into Colin the pump chaser. In fact, I even put a tweet out because I thought it was so appropriate for him. He just went and had a kid, so congratulations, Colin, on the family and all that. And I pulled up this chart, and I said, well, gee whiz, doesn't that look like one of Colin's pump chaser zones? Which I think, if anything, in the internet meme land, he should become famous for that. And lo and behold, there's big fat W that's coming in here. And I did hear people recently going, Brian, there's weekly W's coming in here, pay attention. So obviously some significance going on there. It's also interesting too about this chart is this is where Novogratz, the great Mike in Novogratz, killer Galaxy Digital is his fund. God, that guy's gonna own half the world by the time he's done. But he made a call back here. I don't think corn goes below about I don't know, 30 some odd thousand bucks. I think it was like 37 or something like that. Anyway, fascinating to see how we oscillated around that level, and now we're turning back up. Be interesting, too. I haven't really heard too much, and, you know, maybe you can throw comments, and, you know, I don't know. I suppose in the daily briefs and stuff and then going forward. I haven't really heard too much about, like, Woolly Woo and The glass node people, remember they were all the rage about a year or so ago. Bitcoin's going to $100 million. We're all going to get rich. Woohoo! I'd be interesting to see whether if what their attitude is. Are they still calling for moons? I don't know. I will say that the technical picture itself has cleaned itself up quite a bit. A little worried that maybe the community might be getting a little too bullish too quickly. But nonetheless, crypto is venture cap, and if we're close to a bottom, venture cap usually gets pretty crazy down at the bottom. And then gyrates around, and then we go screaming up. And also, too, we're coming into the seasonally friendly time of year for crypto. Usually through the summer, it's relatively happy. But I just am worried that we got to get through May here, Interestingly enough, I actually think, here's a really cool comparison. Notice that this top, from here to this bottom, check this out. This is freaky when this happens, but look at this. That was almost exactly 1 year. I mean, it was ridiculous how close it was. It's like 364 bars. In 1 year is 365 bars, something like that. Almost exactly 1 year from the top to the bottom. Anything happen around this time of year almost exactly 1 year ago that was sort of a ridiculous, stupid, idiotic blow-off top event? The worst part about it is the guy's like stinking rich. He has horrible bedside manner. I don't think he gives a flying fuck about the public. I think he is kind of a half robot himself. He calls himself autistic. I can understand. I can see the Asperger's, but if you want to be empathetic towards autistic people, try interacting with low-functioning autism people. Those are the people that really deserve your empathy when it comes to autism. But nonetheless, I do find it really interesting that we're basically coming up to a 1 year anniversary, and just like I showed you with that Bitcoin chart, quite often markets do that. They will literally go up for 1 full year, and they will go down for almost 1 full year. And in a weird sort of way, I get the feeling that this could be actually a bit of a catalyst here. So that looks really similar to that Bitcoin chart, eh? So one more dump here into sort of early, mid-May. And that almost might be that exact 1 year bear market heart-crushing event that actually can mark some sort of cyclical bottom here in these Schult coins. And I gotta say, man, there are a lot of coins that are starting to act very bottomy. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have one more stab against the lows just to break some hearts of some leveraged players. But I get the feeling we're a hell of a lot closer to a bottom here than we are the top, and where you have to be really worried. And interestingly enough, there are a bunch of names that are... I've told you guys in the public, what I often see, it drives me crazy, is the market will often go beyond my 78.6, but then it ultimately comes back and it'll put in a big fat W right off that darn level. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that in my career. And I got a feeling that's exactly what's going on here as well. So like one more push into May, mark that 1 year anniversary, and we have a bunch of studies. There's the January barometer. There's the decennial report. There's the U.S. typical congressional election year performance. There's a bunch of reasons that would actually justify us thinking that there's some big frickin' bottom coming into the market here in the next few months. So be very, very careful here. Don't be overly bearish. If anything, almost look at the bearishness and consider the bearishness by the public is actually your opportunity to start buying when they're crying. That's the kind of environment that I think we're in right now. So with that said, Dad has decided to join us. How's it going, Dad? Should we talk quietly?
Yeah.
You want to whisper?
Yeah. Hopefully, that's it.
It's
I
okay.
think we'll be all right. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Hey, man, I'm envious. I used to, like, my son is low functioning autistic. So when he was a baby, I mean, he couldn't understand the universe that he was born into. So the poor little guy, he always cried. It was so sad for him. So
Yeah,
I used to stand over his crib and slowly pat his butt,
yeah.
and play the nursery rhyme music
Hmm.
in the background, and literally stand by his crib for like, geez, half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes some nights. Just and as soon as you're like, okay, that's ah, shitty. And right back in you go.
Yeah.
So, I'm at the point in my life where I look back and I'm envious of those days. So you will be there 10,
Yeah,
20
right.
years from now when she's giving you back talk and she's stealing the car to go out hang out with her boyfriends and smoke pot. You'll remember these days fondly.
Yeah, I have to cherish them.
Anyway, so how are you doing this evening, sir? Other than
Yeah,
relaxing?
I'm doing great.
Oh,
So
good.
what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say maybe hanging out with your kid and kind of watching her slowly drift off to sleep makes you feel pretty good. So doesn't necessarily have
Yeah,
to be a bad thing.
yeah, yeah. Like you said, just gotta take in those moments and enjoy them.
Hmm. Yeah, especially when you're on the other side of the fence like I am right now. I look back and say that there are some times in your life when you're supposed to go through this particular story. And you have to feel kind of badly for old people that like never have had kids. Because there's no way they'll be able to have kids. There's no way they'll be able to even experience those kind of experiences. So in a way, even though I had a special needs child, and I still do, he's still a 10-year-old at 21. Yeah, I'm thankful that at least I'll say when I get over on the other side with my maker, we'll definitely have some interesting conversations about this life. Been some interesting adventures. Anyway, I'm just sort of blabbing away here talking about the broader market. One thing I did want to mention, which I thought was really cool, I don't know whether we want to do this sort of do we want to try? Do you think you're up for filling in all the stuff, or should we just sort of freestyle it tonight a little bit and wait
Sure. I
for the other
mean,
guys?
I think even after Nick left last week, as you were kind of going through, you were pretty much filling out the columns as you were talking through them. So yeah, so if you wanted to pick up on the next
Hmm.
and keep going, I'd be happy to do that. That could be fun.
Okay.
Um,
One thing I wanted to do before I jumped into that was I
mhm.
wanted to give you guys a little bit of a different perspective on investing. I don't think I really show this on the. I actually had a really cool chart setup that showed this, but actually I think we've taken it like one step further now. So let's see if I can show you that. Hmm. Darn. Maybe it's. I wanted to. I used to show this matrix of about 10 to 20 different coins that were all like weekly studies. And actually, it really helps you sort of understand the context of market state. The only problem is I have to try and find it. Darn. Fudge. I used to have it as a weekly study. I can't see it. I probably should have taken the time to load it up before. Sorry, guys. Anyway, it's a really cool sort of weekly analysis. Darn. I kind of hoping that it was just right here, but I don't see it. So anyway, Maybe actually one other place it might be is if I go chart and then we'll go weekly. Weekly bias. Weekly. Darn. Doesn't look like I have it. Anyway, I used to have this really cool matrix. Maybe I can just build it here for you. It's not too difficult. I just do something like I'll go... I suppose we can do Doge. That's fine. And then we'll go TRIs in moving averages. I wonder if I have that on here somewhere. I think I do. Favorite. Okay, well, I'll just do it manually. Moving average exponential, and then... God, I ran into this. Oh, there it is. TRI moving averages. Maybe this will do it. Something like that. Okay. So let's put that away. And then we'll go like that. And then we'll go... we got there, that. All right. Put something else on. There we go. Okay, so this is a really, really simple look at the market. And I like to use this kind of tool to just to help us see sort of trend. Yeah, Manoto says April 4th, 5th astrology aspects most definitely seem gnarly. Brace yourselves. Yeah, I know. I don't know how bad it gets. So. But okay, back to our conversation here. So this is a really, really simple analysis technique. A lot of a lot of institutional players like to use moving average relationships to help identify the trend. You can see, like, for instance, Doge here. Trend crossed over bearish here, and we've been trending down bearish now since basically last fall in this particular one. And you can build out actually a really nice sort of set of the universe. And, you know, maybe you do like BTC USD. And stamp something, so, you know, there's your bear trend. And ETH/USD. Same thing, bear trend. LTC/USD, you know, and just build out your matrix. Dash, that's a pretty popular one, isn't it? I don't know, can't remember. I always used to like Dash, Amanda's a Penthouse and all that kind of stuff. What's another popular one? What's one you like, man? Give me some names, I don't care.
So we could do like just going down the list.
I don't care. Anything doesn't matter.
BNB.
BNB. So that's sort of like you want to get a pulse of what Mr. CZ's life. Well, yeah, it's actually bearish. Go figure. Give me another one.
Solana.
SOL.
Yeah.
Actually, so this would be good, sort of like a DeFi. I think it's SOL, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. So there's USD. Oh, bearish. Another one.
Cardano ADA.
ADA. Yeah, I remember. Well, we'll do Coinbase there, but still bearish. One more. Do we have any bullish here? Come on, give me one.
How about we put Luna up there?
Luna! Actually, Luna might even be bullish. Let's see. Hey, it is! Son of a bitch. Way to go. There's always a bull somewhere, right? Way to go. All right. So this is a pretty good analogy of the market. So mutual fund managers would look at this. And what do you think the breadth of the market is here now? Down, 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 up. What do you think the predominant trend is?
I think it looks like it's pointing down a bit.
Yeah, I'd say the breadth would be like, what, 7 down, 1 up. Well, what's the bullish percentage of that? So if you can think about the market from this kind of perspective, this is the easy way for you to understand something like the DI breadth. Because really all the DI breadth is it's just it's an adding and subtracting of how many issues are spitting out buy signals versus how many issues are spitting out sell signals. So this is a pretty straightforward, easy way to sort of measure health of the market. And, I think actually that image right there pretty much summarizes, the risk market. We could easily turn back bullish, and there always is a bull somewhere. Turns out Luna happens to be just killing it right now. But also, too, what I want you to think about is if we use this relationship as sort of a benchmark for whether the asset is trending higher or lower, which asset should we be thinking about being investing in, and which one should we be hunting long setups in? That's the irony of all this. Ironically enough, I think the only one you should be hunting long setups in is the Luna. All the others, you got to wait for them to turn back up. And the problem here is, from a trade location perspective, are you coming in and buying a cheap Luna here, or does that seem like it's maybe a bit expensive? You tell me, Ben, there's just guy on the street. You tell me, does that seem cheap or does that seem expensive?
It's about as expensive as it's ever been.
Yeah. So, yes, the trend is up, but Brian's a cheap ass. There's no fucking way I'm going to be able to buy that. Excuse me, sir. Actually, the door is closed, right? The little one can't hear me, right?
Yeah.
It is interesting. There's a W there with it quite a bit off of its high. The moving averages were bullish. So in a weird sort of way, you can kind of go, maybe that is a situation where we're not so expensive. Moving averages are still pointing bullish. I'm getting W's, so all right, well, maybe I'll participate. Same sort of thing here. Now, this is what I really want to drive home. Is notice this part of the equation. So down here, ironically enough, there was actually a scandal in the story. A hack, all that kind of nonsense, right? Reload zones, you know how much that Beamish guy loves is reload zones, and you can see a little bit of nice bullish structure, down, up, brown breakout, and hey, we're crossing the moving averages. Bullish. That, my friends, is the golden ticket to getting rich in this world trading, where you have pretty good trade location, now near the bottom end of the range, moving averages crossing bullishly, and the proof of the pudding's in the eating. Woohoo! Right? So, you want to learn how to trade, and I'm pretty damn proud of myself. I loaded up on the Luna down here. I took about a $5,000-$10,000 bet, which is, it's a couple bucks. So, it wasn't millions, but nonetheless, I don't like to put my neck in the noose too much. So, I was pretty happy to see that turn out the way that I was hoping. And, of course, I'm still long, and my next sell half on a double order is way up here. So, point of the matter here is, if we can think about these moving averages and trade location, if you can get sort of a confluence of both signals, you can get some really, really good buys. And that was the whole point behind, remember, before, how do we say this? Well, I suppose if you're under 20, then before you were born. But .ca was my old website when I was a broker, and you can see I used to run this all way, but crypto was born right here. But you can see when I was building out, and I was a full service broker through here. Actually, it's kind of funny because I did have the web page up and running, but I don't think I used the .ca website. I switched to the .ca right when I was getting going on a mining map project, and that's actually why this starts here. But nonetheless, you can see it sort of hit its zenith here in 2018. But Stuart asked me to shut this down because it kind of conflict of interest to a certain degree, and I can understand that. But if we just go and look at, and I don't run this anymore, if I can just find a link here to show you. I remember I was a full service commodities broker for a very long time. And I used to run this service basically every week under my trading forum. Hopefully this will load. I don't know whether it will. Might not. It's been so long. I have shown you guys this before, so I think it should load. Anyway, this is all I would do is I would just go week by week by week in every single market. And I used to be a commodities broker, so I used to follow the there they are, the 40 major commodity markets. And every single week I would just simply count when did the trend turn up or down. How many weeks old was it? Am I short or long off of M's or W's? Just really straightforward stuff. What was the price? What should be your stop? What's the target based on some sort of, in this case, a harmonic, but it could be also 50% rule, that kind of thing. And I really wanted to transition this service, which I actually used to do manually every single week. I would just literally load up this chart. Oh, look at that. The chart link doesn't even work anymore. So that's how old it is. The place I would go, actually it's interesting, is that it is called Trading Charts, so I guess the link is just wrong, but TFC Commodities. I would literally just load up these charts, like heating oil, for example, on a weekly, and just do all the analysis right off of this, but just do it manually. There's a W, there's the breakout, how many weeks old it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A, B, C, D's, 50% rules, the whole damn thing. But I would love to be able to get this to the point where we could automate this. And of course that is really this is sort of like 1970s guy meets who gets his price charts in the mail. Sort of meets the internet, and how do they sort of get together? And the blogs that I used to write, some of these blogs are so funny. I don't even know if these blog places even exist anymore. You can see it was at blogpost.com, right? CRI's only doubles. So obviously the pages are all gone now. But anyway, so I used to have all these blogs and stuff. So. And actually it's interesting. The last blog post that I had here was actually the 2000 I guess the very first blog post that I actually published here was, let's see if it shows. It might not, but is it going to show? Yeah. The very first blog post I had in here, you can see 2008. This is actually where I issued. Oh no, that isn't there. Damn it. Anyway, that's where I issued the sell signal on the S&P 500. So there was actually a really cool sell signal there on the S&P 500 back. That was before the great financial crisis and all that bullshit. Anyway, where am I going with all this? What I really wanted to do was try and get this survey, which is all very automated. It should be, but I was doing it manually. If I could get this into the 21st century on the new website. And we started out about a year or two ago on this adventure just building a Google spreadsheet while Sjord was working away on building this site out, which, basically is the whole, customer management and all that bullshit, right? But not bullshit, super important, better not use the wrong words. But, all these different things, video hosting and all that, along with the data here. As sort of a side project, we said, it was kind of a fun project. Could we get this commodity trend survey into the 21st century just using Google Sheets? So we set up this Google Sheet, and actually I was pretty impressed. We were able to get it to the point where that old manually built page, but all automated, where 52-week high and 52 low, 50% rules, EMAs. You remember I showed you earlier how you can use EMAs to identify trends. So using the EMA system. And the only problem with this, and we had a site member, and there was a bunch of us working on this. Bob T, BB, this guy Jeremy, PCA1633. Still don't know what the guy's real name is. But nonetheless, he helped us a lot with the programming. And he actually did a whole bunch of notes and a whole bunch of scripting and stuff like that. The only problem is it was very clunky and I couldn't get it to really work. And then we had this gentleman came along, and he's like a Mr. Python wizard. And he's like, oh yeah, I can do all that up in Python, no problem, and totally spit it out and make it look all fancy schmancy. And that's what he's just gone and done. And then his wife builds WordPress sites. So he just dumps all the sort of reformulated data here. You can see these are all his pages that he just created. Here are all the old ones. But he just went and redid it using Python. And I got to say, man, it's pretty damn slick. He's taken it to like the next level. So here are all the pages. And again, he's got all the data, 52-week high, 52-week low. These are all the commodity markets that I like to follow. Remember, I just showed you that page. But what he did, which was over the top, so super cool, is he actually converted it to like a WordPress site. So everything's all nice and neatly presented on a WordPress site. And then, because he's so awesome at Python, he actually went and did all of our fundamental screens that we use for stocks. Like WDB is a deep value screen, CanSlim's like a growth model for companies with earnings. VCIM, this is a model that's very, very difficult to screen for. And he's actually gone and found stocks with very low share counts and all that. We also track like all of the large cap stocks, the Dow, transports, utilities, the S&P 100, sort of institutional index. And you can see everybody gets a technical score here. Where, and actually it's really cool. Basically the model works like this. And this is just purely from a technician's perspective, where we're going to basically base the analysis on two criteria. Number one, where are we relative to the mean? So are we overvalued relative to the mean, or are we undervalued relative to the mean? And we use the 50% rule, the 52-week 50% rule, to help us identify where we are relative to the mean. Obviously, assets that are below, there's the mean 50% rule. These ones down here, we're going to be interested, because if we want to buy, we want to see it return to the mean, and that's our profit margin. And then conversely, assets that are well above the mean, well, we want to sell those and, maybe even short them. And when we return to the mean, we want to take profits. Or, if you sold, think about buying them back. The second principle is that moving average principle that I told you about earlier, that we want to try and be in assets where the moving averages are actually positioned bullishly. And usually the moving averages cross back bullishly after an asset has had some time to base and then starts rising. So if you have a screen that's going to identify if we are above or below the mean and give it a score, and then you have a screen that tells you whether the moving averages have crossed bullishly or are crossing bearishly and give that a score, then you can come up with an overall score. And so that's basically what this is. So you can see relative distance to the mean, that's this score up here. Really crappy scores all the way up here, really good scores all the way down here. Whoops. All the way down here. And then moving average relationship, is it bullishly or bearishly positioned? You can see how this score oscillates there. So which gives you an overall score. You can see how it oscillates between 2 is the lowest and 5 is the highest. I think I actually have this a little bit more like this is at 3s, 2s, and 1s. So for the system that we're running right now, so what it means is really, really good scores are actually like 6s, and really, really bad scores are 1s. And we want to buy 5s and 6s. Identify 5s, because 5s are sort of like, hey, we're right down at the bottom and we're getting ready to turn up. And a 6 should basically be the signal that, hey, we're turning up, but we're still well below the mean. That's the logic behind it. Does it actually work? Well, like I said, it's been really clunky, but we did get it working to a certain degree. And you can see 99% of the universe is going to be stuck sort of right in this middle, sort of like 3s and 4s. And what we're really looking for is we're looking for those assets that are like 5s and 6s. And if we're thinking about shorting, we're looking for the 1s, maybe even 2s. So built this out and it was working pretty well. Then John came along, and what also John did was, and this is why I wanted to mention to you guys tonight, is he's now gone and added crypto. Oh, interesting. Now, the cool part about this is that you guys have probably noticed it hasn't really been that great of a market over the past 6-8 months in crypto. Has it? I mean, Ben, what do you think? Is there people banging out tons of wins in crypto these days?
Not since not since like the end of last year,
Yeah,
unless you have
well,
learning.
I suppose DeFi did have a little bit of a window there, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then Danny kind of fell apart. And as soon as Danny fell apart, that sort of kicked the market in the nuts, eh? Anyway,
Hmm.
actually, I'm kind of getting the impression he's getting back. And if Nick was here, I'd ask whether Danny's still in the doghouse. Do you follow the Danny story at all?
Only so much as whatever kind of comes through the
Okay.
like. Yeah, I
Is
don't
he
go
part of
looking
that
for it.
secret network? I don't know whether you guys do. You know what that
Yeah,
secret network
let
is?
me look that up. I'll see. I'm
Because I
not hundred
noticed, I
percent.
think I was telling you guys in the show today. I mean, gee whiz, some of these coins just
Yeah,
look so
you did pull
cute.
that chart up. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I don't know whether that's in our little universe of ideas to look at, but look at that chart, eh? It's so pretty. So anyway, there's the secret network, and I kind of tweeted out earlier. I don't know whether I really want to trade Bitcoin, but I do see that there is some money to be made in some of these altcoins here. Like through the summer here, this could easily rally right back up top of the range and maybe just blast off to new highs. But definitely taking a shot against the all these W's down here. That I think it's worth your while. So that's just one example of these. But back to my fun story here. So John's gone and you know this might tie in well with what we're doing here. I'm not quite sure whether it does or not, but he's got the top 100 cryptocurrencies based on market cap off of Binance. And I noticed, look at all these numbers, and he's even ranked them. Isn't this so cool? I mean, talk about building a kick-ass shopping list, eh? Remember we said fives and sixes. These are assets that are basically right down here, just waiting to go. And six is our turn back up. So it's interesting right now in the entire universe, and this is how powerful something like this is, because this makes investing really, really easy, folks. Ironically enough, when they were giving oil away there and it went to like minus $30 a barrel, this system was telling you to buy oil. And of course, I didn't want to listen to it. I had the hots for Greta, so I wanted her to like me. So I was like, oh no, oil sucks. It's dirty. It's old, right? And of course, she still laughs at me. But point is, that was actually a really bad investment decision to listen to Greta. Don't listen to environmentalists if you want to make investment decisions. They're terrible. Anyway, point here is, look at this. Five, 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 five. No sixes, which is interesting. Because I don't think the crypto market has turned up in earnest just yet. It's trying to. But, you know, remember we showed you all those weekly charts there, you know, and we did that exercise there with Ben just a minute ago, wherever the hell that chart is. Did I? I hope I didn't put that away. That would suck. Did I? Maybe I did. Is it over here? Oh no, maybe this is it. Yeah, there we go. The trend is still in trouble here. So doesn't surprise me we won't get a six. And then also too, moving averages are positive here, but is that a good trade location? No, that's terrible trade location. So you're not going to get a six out of this thing. Because remember, sixes are only generated when we're down here. Market is below the mean and the moving averages are crossing up. So are there any examples of sixes working right now? And this is so cool. Like I asked him to put together a table like we have on this. So hopefully John can put this little table together so you can quickly see if there are any buys. But just even our old clunky system, you can see there was 1 6 in our portfolio, and it came from venture cap. What does a 6 look like? So if we go over to the VCIM screener, and I love this because, you know, if you've worked with me at all, you know how much I absolutely love low share counts. Low share counts are the key to making ridiculous money in this game of speculation. low coin counts. Why do you think Bitcoin has done as well as it has? Go look at how many coins are outstanding. It's no accident. So anyway, like I said, John's gone and done all of our homework for us. It's all laid out here, all nice and tickety-boo. And there's 1 6 in his universe right now. Now, what does a 6 look like? A 6 usually looks like something like this. Where, holy Jesus, just gotten destroyed. Then it has a little bit of a perk up because it's getting its act together and reorganizing. It's come back down into reload zones, and then all of a sudden, hey, look, there's some buyers stepping up. Somebody's interested in this thing. And there's the 52-week 50% roll. You can see it's like 41 cents, and right now we're at, what, 15 cents? That's almost a triple. So that's actually what a killer 6 looks like. What's really interesting is when we go through the crypto list, and I think it's important that you keep an eye on this, is if we go through the list, we got a whole bunch of 5s. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. What do these look like? That's looking pretty darn similar, isn't it? The one thing that it's missing, though, is we just haven't quite turned up here yet. Eh? You can see the moving averages are still negative. Remember I showed you that matrix. But you can see when this thing does turn back up, there's the 50% roll up there. That's 30 cents. We're at 12 cents. That's a triple. So you can see the profit potential is here. It makes perfect sense why John thinks this is a 5. This is getting ready to go. You know, is it... I mean, you tell me, Ben, does that look like it's in a acceptable trade location based on the work that we do together?
Yep.
All right, he said with confidence. I don't know whether we probably have bullish divergences developing here in momentum, but do we have W's coming in here yet? Not quite. Right, I mean, we went down. This is a new low. We rallied off. We came down. So this is probably a cute little daily bottom here. But for these weekly moving averages to turn over, you can see you really need to see some really solid structure. So again, as I sort of said earlier, and you know, if you want to look into it, actually, it's not a bad sales pitch for you. We have a blog, and if you're watching this video and you don't know us very well, we have a 30-day trial. You can come on over to the TRI and join us and hang out for 30 days, totally free. We have a blog here that we do for free, and this is great. Whoops. Geez, I'd like that link to work better. But this is a great sort of way for us to speak to the public about sort of big sort of concept posts and stuff that's free education. But this is basically a report that shows what we expect this year to sort of look like. I mean, talk about a cool tool to have as a cheat sheet, eh? So this is called a decennial report, and you can see I think we're sort of right about here right now. And I do like the idea that there's one more FU into the middle of the year that I think needs to happen, and then we put in a base and rock and roll here. Now, the good part about it is, like, this is like the S&P 500, big stocks and stuff. You might find that crypto, all it does is it just comes back and plays with these lows. Maybe the lows hold, maybe they don't, but then we turn back up. But it does actually correspond really well with the idea that there are a lot of names that are just simply down in buying locations. Look at this one jump up. Trend is still down. You can actually see the trend in this one turned down back last June. And the trend for all the moving average fans is still down. This is what they call a V bottom. It just bounced, dead cat bounce right off of the lows here. And, you know, if this really is a bull, what we'd want to see is a nice W and away we go. But look where the 50% rule is. There's lots of money to be made on the upside here when this thing bottoms. So you can see it's getting closer to its bottom. And this is a really handy tool to keep you honest. Look at what happened last time when this thing bottomed, right? Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, there we are. So you can see bear, 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 crossed a little bit bullish there, then bear, 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 then crossed bullishly here, and then woo-wee, big market structure. and then it never looked back. Look, this whole damn move up here never did turn back bearish. The whole way up, all bullish, all the way up. So look at that, the whole damn way, never turned back bearish. So is it in our best interest just to wait for this thing to turn back up here? I think so. And, you know, if you want to sort of algorithmize your trading, make it really, really simple, then what you're really looking for is you're looking for W's at the bottom ends of ranges, reload zones, where 50% tags produce those doubles, so you can sell half on a double, get your risk-free trade, and then, you know, if you happened, like here, for example, if you had happened to sneak somehow in off of one of these turns here, like this great reload zone trade right in there with the moving averages positive, that's at you know, roughly 80 some odd cents. You sell half on a double, which is $1.60. So all that is just 1 week later, boom, you're on a free position. And now where the hell does this damn thing go? It works its way all the way up to $90 frickin' dollars, and you're long from $1.50. So, and then that's not even done. Look at that, it's $200. Shit, that's $600. Remember, I'm long from $1.50 right here. Anyway, so that's what you want to try and do here. So, do we really need to push right here? I don't think so. It's been a good example that it's a 5, and we should just be paying attention. And like I said, all it's got to do is flip to 6, and then I'm like, oh my God, uber bull. So this makes actually investing really easy. You can see the 50% level. This is Uniswap, right? There's the 50% rule. Moving averages are still very bearish. We just V-bottom. Now maybe you go and buy that W there. That's up to you. But trending-wise, my hunch right now is this still needs to back and clean itself up a bit before it can turn back to the bull. And that might be like something, you see how long this takes to turn here. I mean, you don't have the moving averages there to see. So this is a fantastic, whoops, oh geez, now what did I do? This is a fantastic tool that I would like to be able to embed on the website. So that members can, you know, especially people, what I'd like to do is have it as a dashboard page in here. And then John told me that this is nothing more than just a MySQL database, just reading off the database. And then just plunk the table right onto there and we're good to go. So I'm so tickled pink. You know, here's actually one, Adam, he's all excited about this Filecoin. I'd say, yeah, we're still early. Fantastic trade location. And I mean, you can see there's the 50% rule. So at like 20, 30 bucks, there's a lot of money to be made on this thing down the road. But we're not quite trending higher yet. It's going to get a great score for location. As soon as the moving averages turned up, oh boy, away we go. So, and like I said, that would happen when you get a 6 issued here. So, you know, what I would suggest to do, I mean, ooh, look at this one. Nice W forming there, eh? So, what is this? NEO. Moving averages are still saying we're bearish, and, you know, probably similar to this. Notice how, you know, we go moving averages. We have the breakout here. Moving averages still bearish, then we actually pull back. That causes the fast moving average to actually cross bullishly. So there's your sort of seasonal rally. May, June, July, pretty typical. Try and get that free position off. Then we had to back off into the fall. Very typical, October, November. And then really, like, look at this one here, eh? This was, of course, through the whole sickness panic. So, and actually, you know, this is a good analogy of what I think happened in the market, because I think that the smart money, and actually here, let's see if I can just, because I want to draw on this. This, I think, is a really good example of, you know, whether it be crypto or whether it be the stock market, I personally believe that the smart money did not expect this. You can actually even see on this. The smart money, I think, was thinking, all right, the base is in. It's time for a new bull market. And I think the smart money, just like all of us, we all got caught off guard by that COVID event. This, of course, set up just an absolutely insane buy. And if anything, this is probably a good example. When you do trade algorithmic, you have to understand sometimes you're going to have to obey the fact that you got stopped out at a loss, and it might be ugly. You got to get right back on that horse, because you notice this next one, this loss here, which is probably something like maybe it's even as bad as that whole W. Just try and keep that number in mind. Actually, or maybe why don't we go like that? Well, that's not exactly what I wanted, but anyway, keep that in mind. Now we had this next buy, so that sets up the buy here, and you got to risk all the way down to here. So another one of these big honking risk windows. I mean, maybe you just trade the W, the tight little W in here, but let's just call a spade. Nice big fat risk windows. Let's see what happened the next go round. So by time you actually, and where do you take profits? That's up to you. Hopefully you can see that the trend stayed positive the whole way up here. I mean, maybe you balked here, but I think that would be kind of silly. Hopefully you took some profits on the way up, but hopefully what you're seeing is your profit window definitely offsets there's the first loss, and there's your profit. And ideally, of course, you want this win to be bigger than this loss. That's the whole point of this game. So I kind of like the idea that right now in these, we've gone through basically a full year of correction, which, after a while, market goes, I'm getting sick and tired of going down. In this particular case, it was like 1 year top to 1 year bottom. Then the bull, whatever the bull was, it wasn't that huge, but it was a bit of a rally back. Maybe a year of sideways. And then here we go back up a crazy again. So I just wonder that this is like early May. It sure looks to me like, maybe where's early May? There it is right there. I would love the idea of that actually being some sort of pivot. Maybe this thing, rallies up a bit, comes back down, does a nice little FU against those lows, and then something like that. And then the moving averages, they've started to cross bullishly. And because the 50% rule is still up there, and we are here, that you'll get a 6 reading on the spreadsheet. So the point I guess I would just say is there's a lot of 5s here. And of course, you're not going to get a 5 reading, like probably, there's Luna right up there. Luna's giving you a 2 reading. Why? Because there's no way in hell I'm going to go and buy something that looks like that. I'm just not going to happen. If anything, and it kind of sucks, I don't think it's going to happen, but if anything, I have to be worried that this thing M's out and has to come back to the 50% rule. So I can't buy that. So that's why it gets a really low rating. So I wanted to mention this, hopefully John gets to the point where he feels comfortable disseminating this publicly. I don't know whether he really wants to or not. What I would like to do is I'd love to basically, like John's taken the Python code and made it very crisp. Like these are all the models that actually we teach in the education program, and we're just missing the GARP one. I asked him if he could include GARP, but man, this is so next level. And it's a different way of approaching the market. It's actually a commodity trader's way of approaching the market, where you buy undervalued assets and you sell overvalued assets relative to their relative position given where they're trading, i.e. we want to sell Lunas and we want to buy, like the NEOs and stuff of the world. It's a very commodity trader's sort of approach to the market. And what I love about this site is that we have so many ways to skin this cat. That this is just yet another very unique, very different way that we look at the market, that this really keeps you honest. It really does. And if you just, if you're a site member and you happen to see this and you look and you see that your coin is issuing a 3 or a 4 reading, that's a Yeah, there probably really isn't a trade here. So don't push the chain. Okay, so I don't know whether there was any value to that, but I really wanted to present that to you guys tonight. I'm over the top tickled pink about this. It's so impressive. So great to see there. What do we want to do, Ben? Do we want to take a shot at some more of these names while we're here and see, or do we want to maybe just take requests from the viewers? What do you think we should do? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of requests. I don't think there was a lot, so maybe we could maybe knock out a few requests, and then
Okay.
if
I
things
did
quiet
see
down, we can jump back on.
somebody asked us to look at IMX. Is that a crypto? IMX.
Hadn't heard of that.
Let's use our nice simple IMX versus tethers. Should we do that on Binance? Yeah. Yeah, problem with when you want to try and analyze assets that just don't have that much data is, yeah. I mean, I can tell you, but honestly, this thing, the most appropriate answer would be this thing needs time to breathe. 52-week high, 52-week low. Mind you, that's actually probably this is probably just measuring the past 52 bars versus 52-week high and low. So I don't know how relevant that is, but probably the best thing to do would be to. My hunch is if it's a relatively new issue, it's probably not even going to come up on a screen like this. Because keep in mind, right, we would look at something like this on a weekly, and it's just not enough data to really interpret what's going on here. All I would say off of the weekly chart is, and I know this isn't really rocket science, but top end of the range, bottom end of the range. I personally love candle bodies for trade location. So it doesn't really surprise me that this wick actually stalled out right there. V bottom, kind of an M top, so it's not encouraging that we lost those lows there. It's interesting to see volume has come in pretty hard down on the bottom here. It hasn't really formed, ideally what we'd love to see, well, maybe, is you can see sellers were pretty active here and here, and then everybody just sort of drifted. Sellers still active, still active. All of a sudden the bulls came alive right here. How should we do this? There. So I wouldn't think of this as a 52 week. That's erroneous. That's why I thought maybe it's probably not relevant to use this. But I would use this moving average 13 EMA 30 SMA. That's a simple trend indicator. And you can see there's a pretty good looking little buy signal right there off the daily charts. Which kind of makes sense because you rallied off the low on heavy volume. Be curious to see what the actual fundamental news that drove that. Huge volume spike, maybe a big, inside, some fat cack or something took a position. So really all this is just digesting this big honking move. And you can see the buying interest waning. Hello, boom! And so that's sort of like right here. You can see the buy signal, if you were going to say there was one, was this candle opened up, beep. It went down a little bit, and then it turned around, and it went up through this little W right there. So that was probably all this price action right in there, right? So if we go back to that daily. Funny thing is price action is really, it doesn't care whether it's a 5-minute chart, 1 hour chart, weekly chart. It's all the same. It's quite remarkable how it is. But you can see we go down, up, down. And then, like I said, this opened up here. It went down initially, so there was no breakout. And then it turned around and went up through that level there. So if we, like I would say, if you were a trader and you were like, well, Brian, where's the buy? Well, I think it's right on this candle right there. So if we go back to that 1 hour, I'm getting the impression, was that there? Or I guess that was, yeah, that was right there. Right? So you can see the W. Boom, 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 boom. Big. In fact, you can even see, and you know what's cool? I was watching Colin on his Hero feed today, and he was actually talking about volume impetus in his video, which I was so impressed. He was like, look, you can see where the bears fell asleep, and you can see exactly where the bulls woke up. I thought that was so cool. I was like, yay, somebody gets this shit. That's awesome. So you can see how everybody was just falling asleep here. Nobody interested. And all of a sudden, look how the bulls just came alive here. And then a higher bar here. And then a higher bar. And then a higher bar. So this is about it. And then notice on this push up here to new highs, lower volume. Uh-oh, something's not right with this bull. And sure enough, we had to go sideways for quite a while. So we still found some more buyers. But again, uh-oh, something's not right. Market's moving higher, but the volume is not moving higher. So this is a good example where the bulls are running out of steam here. Anyway, point of the matter here, we were talking about the buy signal. I think the buy was down in here, and it was basically on a resolution right through here. So there's your buy. What is that? $1.68. Where are we now? We are 263. Got up to 280. So you still haven't got your double off. I would say there could be a trend continuation trade here. You'd have to be pretty light on your feet, and I don't know how good of a trader you are, but our day traders, they're constantly hunting these. It's so cool to hang out in that battle stations room now. So they're just humming along. Fire, Fabian, who I think is Fire. You know, actually, they're even getting Craig and Thomas all excited about trading bots. We're in a real strongly trending market state, so bots work really well in this kind of market state. So anyway, point is they're having a lot of fun trading the futures contracts. Dave also too is doing really, really well. Okay, so bot trade. Oh yeah. So you can see, I mean, we have a ton of lows all in here. Notice how it jumped up to the bot entry level right there, then backed off. I mean, there's plenty of reason for you to be able to get in if you were a bull and we're going, hey man, this thing's going higher. And what I would say, this trade here, entered, moved stop to scratch, moved stop to trailing now. So I get the impression you probably want to put your stop below these key lows. We use the 3 high-low method, so 1, 2, 3, third most recent low. Probably your stop's right under here. Since this is where you entered the trade, if you had entered the trade, which I think would have been so cool, off of that W, down, up, down, up, down, up, breakout, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, breakout, then again, breakout. If you entered from there, then there's a little bit of a profit margin. Nothing really to write home about. But it actually looks like there's another bot setting up here. So you can now keep in mind this bigger one has got this as a price objective up here. And you can kind of see how this one, there to there, we go bot setup. Did we do 33? Yes. And we clone that, take it up top. And this is the high, so we got to start our count here. 1, 2. I'd like to see one more sexy low there. There we go. So you can see how the next bot, it's just a little one inside here is setting up. And look how this little bot is actually going to take us up into the bigger bot's price objective. And interesting how these numbers, this 308, 315, remember we said, what was the original buy level? We said that it was $1.68. So what is $1.68 times 2? That's roughly around, well, I guess that's right around that 320 area. I think that makes sense. Anyway, so there you go. Are you going to trade this? I don't know if whether you watching this video today, whether you have the acumen to actually trade this kind of pattern. If you were so comfortable that you would look at this and go, yeah, okay, I can see the setup, then honestly, you probably have no business watching this channel. You make too much money trading your own. You know what to do, and you don't need to listen to a clown like me. But if I was in sort of like a professional trading competition and I had to trade, and you asked me, Brian, what would be the levels that you'd be trading? Well, it would be that. And I would still actually be looking for higher prices here, believe it or not. Little concerning that the volume, like I said, we had great looking volume breakout here. We're getting up top here. You know, the sad thing is up here, you got to be thinking about selling. And what's the public going to be doing, right? If we go like this, the public's going to be FOMO buying up here. So I think you have to look at this like this is the end of the move, not the beginning of the move. So anyway, take that for whatever it's worth. I suppose, you know, like I said, there's just not much data to do much off of the higher time frames. But I suppose you could probably draw a fib like off of, well, even the whole range, right? We go like reload zone. And you can see there's 50% rule. So our little bot objectives, number one, Ben, anybody who bought into this candle right here, where are they sleeping right now?
On the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the doghouse.
They're praying to God that price gets back into there and they can just get off of it, right? So interesting how these bots, these ABCDs, are all going to try and take price into this wick, and I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw of selling up there. And also interesting, you know, all the people that bought into this wick, they actually got released here. You can see that when price spiked up into here, all these people that bought here into this candle went, oh, fucking thank God, get me the hell out of there. And woo, down she goes. So, you know, I hate to say it, this isn't something that fills me with a lot of confidence to come in on the buy side here. This is very late to the trade as far as I'm concerned. I think that was your buy right down there at like $1.60, $1.65, somewhere in that area. And I like the idea, sell half on a double into this 320 area. That makes perfect sense to me. So there you go. Hope that helps. I don't know whether it did or not, but anyway, there you go. All right, what's next on the hit list?
I think in the chat someone had put link as the next one, but we've done that one quite a few times. I don't know if you wanted to do that. I think the one below it was Zill.
All right.
But yeah, we could go back and have a look at link. It's totally up to you.
I think I'd rather put this chart away because these were just specifically for this. And let's go, Liam. This was our funny little matrix, eh? So yeah, let's go here. Should be up here. LINK. And we'll go like Binance, and then we do it off of. Don't we do it like off the tether or something like that? Just so. Yeah, there we go. YouTube still working? Yeah, that's good. Looks like it is. So I see that I just got a report that the site chat crashed, so I'm going to reboot the server again. And hopefully darn thing will come back. Oh yeah, look at that. It's been down for a while now. Well, hopefully that helps. Let's see what we got here. Are you back? Yay! My apologies, TRI site members. Still having problems with Rocket Chat there. Okay, so Link. Sorry.
We did a look at this last week, and you
so.
did take some notes. So I don't know if you wanted to see if it has got. I think we'd put down no for Momo div and structure, but yes for location. So.
Yeah, well, I think you can see what we were thinking. And this kind of makes sense. I mean, now we're getting 8s and 9s. So if you're a fan of Tom DeMark, that there itself is telling you, you know what, you better cool your jets. And this, you know what this looks like? This looks like the breadth indicator. And It just can't keep going on, guys. I mean, if anything, what we really want to see is give me that blow off top candle so I could be selling halves on doubles. Because at some point, this is going to run out of inertia and it's going to start stalling out, probably if you start seeing like momentum divergences. So how's our MACD looking? Yeah, you can kind of see it now. MACD's kind of flatlining a bit here, eh? So you can see we're not going up at that insane, crazy ass rate. Now, oh, Willie's actually gotten stupidly overbought now. So now we cannot. So, you know, I think I did this. You know, the best way to understand what's going on here is, I hate to say it, you're not going to like me for this, but you got to have the balls to step up and buy when the W's come in. And then when the public... Do I go on? No, sorry. It's bad form. Colleen loves that, right? She always loves that. Colleen, leave a message about how old I am again. Love to hear from you, dear. Anyway, you got to buy when the W's come in. Now, I thought it was interesting, and this is the same illustration. You can't buy that there. But there was actually there was a bunch of these names, right? When the damn breadth indicator turned up there, that was the time to buy. And you got to be able to have the plan all in place, and you got to buy when you're supposed to buy. And I thought it was interesting. You know, we have some site OGs that, this was the poop coin index. It's the same logic, right? Everybody should look at that and go, there's those damn W's that Beamish guy's always talking about. Can you buy that there now? So my simple message was, can you force yourself to step up and buy when you have to buy? It's not easy, but I did, some of our site OGs were like, yep, I forced myself up to buy. And now, free positions are trickling in. But I'm not going to say this is going to be easy. You have to buy when you see the W's. And most importantly, most of the public is not the slightest bit interested. Remember, we're institutional players. So what that means by definition, Ben, do we buy up markets or do we buy down markets?
Down markets.
Thank you. You had to think about that for a minute. So I don't know whether I can reprogram you. Do you want to be like all these banksters that everybody hates in the world? Keep in mind, it's the banksters that make all the money. So, I don't know. Can you force yourself to trade like an institutional player? It's up to you. We can help you build the plan. I can absolutely guarantee you. And I used to tell people when I used to teach the level 1 course, what is the very first thing any bank will ask you if you go into the bank and say, I would like a small business loan? What is the very first thing that they ask you? Ben, do you know? I don't know. Have you ever been into the bank and asked for a small business loan?
Like maybe your credit history or...
No?
No. No, I've gone in for a business loan. No.
They ask you, what is your plan?
Gotcha.
The very first thing they ask. And your plan should actually outline, well, turns out I have really shitty credit, but I already know that I have bad credit, so I've gone and secured a bunch of collateral to make the bankers happy that they can loan me X amount of dollars because I fully understand my credit rating isn't that great. That's your plan. Banker looks at that and goes, okay, the guy's got a plan. Let's move forward. But if you don't have a plan, the banker goes, get the fuck out of my office. All right, so anyway, the point here is the only way you're going to do this is you got to be able to plan. You got to be able to say, when these things come down, I mean, God, it was incredible. I was barking at you guys. I couldn't believe this. You just don't see this every day, folks. What the hell is it? You don't see it? In fact, you don't see it so often, it disappeared right off of my Twitter feed. Hey, where'd it go? But I even told people on the Twitter feed, you take a screenshot of this because you just don't see this shit every day. But we had like a triple reload zone. A reload zone within a reload zone within a reload zone. And 9 times out of 10, when I've seen this in my career, 9 times out of 10, those are pretty good odds. 9 times out of 10, when you see a triple reload zone, the odds are the damn thing pivots. And of course, you know, we all know, indeed, Ethereum pivoted back to the upside. So, can you force yourself to act like an institutional player? I can't answer that for you, but I hope you can. That's the whole point of the talking to you guys. All right, blah, 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 blah. So we had fun looking at, oh yeah, that's right, the chain link, and I can't touch it there, but you can see where we were supposed to be active. If I wanted to buy it now, I'm just going to simply draw my reload zone off of this range. And the funny thing is this, it just keeps you honest. Notice that the reload zone right now is basically that original bottom. So it just, and you know, if you think about, let's say the market is coming off here. What's the concept we use, Ben, to sort of tell us where the big players, the institutional players, there's half of the answer, where they told the market, stop going down, but you go up. Is there an expression that we use for that?
Does it have institutional in it?
Yeah, so it should be pretty easy answer.
Institutional fingerprint.
Right. And what is the fingerprint? Well, the fingerprint is the damn W here. This is their fingerprint. Market was heading down. Somebody said, nope, stop going down. You go up. Then somebody said, well, no, we move on. And somebody said, I said, stop going down. You go up. That's the fingerprint right there. It's plain as day. So if this thing was going to dump, and we don't know how bad the selling gets, but if it's going to dump, what I want you thinking here is, I don't know where the hell the damn bottom is. The bottom could be anywhere. But where was the last time somebody said, stop going down, you go up? Well, that was right down against these lows. And what a surprise, there's the reload zone. It's no accident. And some of my best trades are just simply throwing in stink bids against these kind of bottoms. Let the market puke out like one day. Everybody thinks the sky's falling. And then all of a sudden the next day it puts in an inside bar and then it just takes off right back up to the upside. I love those trades. They're the best. So this is a way that you can use that institutional fingerprint concept that we teach in our education programs. It's not rocket science. To help you sort of see how the market's going to stop going down in this reload zone. I mean, this is what we call confluence of reasons. You got fibs, statistical ratio, and you actually have what we call bullish market structure. You know, candle body lows for trade location. You've heard Brian talk about that ad nauseum. 78.6, blah, blah, blah. The rest writes itself. So anyway, can I buy that there? No. Sorry. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, so the next one on the YouTube chat, it was Zill, but I've noticed he said it's too late for Zill. The same guy, Millennial Insight. We could take a look at it.
Zill, that's this one?
Zilliqa.
Whoa! Yeah, can't touch that now.
Yeah.
I mean, the great part about looking at these things after the fact is I can tell you exactly where you were supposed to buy. It was right there. I mean, damn, eh? Look at that beautiful W. Down, up, down, breakout. And, you know, this is the funny thing about technical analysis, is that a lot of people in the public will say, oh yeah, but there was no way you could get in. It moves way too fast. And that's just a load of fucking horseshit. So there's the W. It's as plain as day. And you can see that this high, which is your buy level, that's 0.0442. So 442. You can see that we went up here 4442. That's a buy. It just broke out there. This is a daily price chart. So it sat there. It gave the buy signal on the 19th of March. And then the next day, it actually backed off. There's a full day. You could have bought. Then another day, it sat and made a doji. And interesting, look how the doji is right on the breakout level. So now you had 2 full days where you could have gone into the trade. You had no excuse to say that you couldn't have done it. And then this day, it actually opens up down here. And you could have said just even on this day, you know what? If this doji, which means indecision, and that would be a bullish resolution, it would also be another confirmation of the double bottom. You could have bought this day as well. So really, really good example where you can't make the excuse that you didn't have the opportunity to get in. And you could even said something like, well, I'm just going to simply wait for a trend line break and give me a W on the other side of the trend line. And that's what that trade is. What do you think, Ben? Is that a trade you think you could have maybe pulled off?
Yeah. I could have, should have, would have.
Well, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
But given that there's plenty of time, because I don't consider myself a sharpshooter, like I'm drilling down and I'm glued to my screen. But 4 days is, I think, enough time for me to execute a trade.
And I mean, the indicators were all Wing out, so you can't even really say that you didn't have the opportunity to get in here. The only problem, though, and whoever asked this question, you have to bug me. You have to say, Brian, my idea is Wing on good-looking volume and momentum. Hey, what do you think? And I'll go, fucking A, I'll join you. But I can't do anything now. It's gone. But that's a perfect analogy of a trade. And if anything, that's a really good analogy of why we want to participate in these shitcoins. You can make a lot of money really quickly. What is that? That's, if you did buy where you were supposed to buy, then there's one double, right up in that area. Then here's another double. So already you've gotten 2 doubles off. Jeez. Drinks are on you. The only problem is, I can't come in and buy this thing here. I know you want me to say, yeah, it's a buy here, but I can't do that. I'm not allowed to. If anything, Brian and his candle body highs, you can see that I'd probably be interested in hunting a short right up there. But something, this nice chart porn here for you. You ready? All right. If this thing can break out through the top, and we can start closing up here. It'd be interesting to see what the volume is. Yep, still strong volume. So somebody's coming in hard here. I unfortunately, like I said, I can't justify buying that. I just can't. It's just too much. But if you are long and you're just like killing it, and you're thinking about upside objectives, what do you think I'm thinking here now, Ben?
Chaos theory.
Yeah. So where does Mr. Foggenbaum suggest chaos could come into the market? Ooh, hello. So up 60 cents. And actually interesting, that's going to be basically like 10x, about 10, 15x off of the bottom. It's not bad. Next objective, and what usually happens is we'll go like that, then like that, and then if we can accept through there, next stop is $1. But that might be a bit aggressive. Thinking that. Just a little bit, maybe. Anyway. So it'd be interesting to see how we play up here. You should have gotten your first double off. Whether you sell the second at the double, that's up to you. Maybe you say, look at, I'll sell the first half just to get my risk-free capital back, and then that way I don't have any risk on the trade. I love those kind of trades. They always make me happy when I hear people do that. And then I'm just riding this, and maybe, you know what I'll do, Brian, is I'll throw some up for sale at this 2.618. If it goes there, great. Lambos are on me. If not, no big deal. But I could very easily, and also too, if you want to think about sort of time horizon when that could potentially happen, might be something along the lines of that. So where do these lines intersect? Believe it or not, the market is actually far more geometric than you think. So that would give you a target somewhere around January. Actually, that would make sense because I like the idea of a big fat rally in crypto 2024, 2025. I really like that. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. I suppose we could also do things like extension levels. So we could go extensions, and we'll be thinking parking garage here in the near term. So I wouldn't be surprised if your sort of seasonal rally is up against this trend line and 1.618. That would be pretty normal. So I kind of like that. You know, this is definitely an objective in there. And I like that as an objective. In fact, it probably even does something like that kind of thing and works its way up there. That wouldn't surprise me. But the problem here is you just can't buy something like that. You're just too late. So anyway, good to, if you did get in on that, way to go. Rock and roll. All right, what's next?
Next up is, it's not in the top 100, but it's Wax P.
WAX?
Yep.
WAX. Wax P?
Ken wants to know your thoughts on Wax.
Well, you're coming in at the bottom end of the range. I always love to see these 8s and 9s down at the bottom. That means at least you're sniffing around the right area. You know, half of the problem, especially when I was a broker, is trying to stop people from coming in and buying this. Remember, there's that Da Vinci guy last year. It's like, yeah, no, technical analysis doesn't matter. And boom, market gets smoked. So we want to avoid that kind of stuff like the plague. You know, do you know what the fundamental value of one of these coins is? This is a coin, right? I get the impression that the market itself likes this level down in here. This is probably where the smart money is long. Probably also like that. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, looks pretty respected. Probably also too, if we go boobity boo down to there, and maybe we can go that whole range. Then go reload zones. Boom, there we go. 88.6. I love 88.6 for trade location. I've told you before, quite often I find that the market actually W's out off of 78.6. Looks like that's exactly what's happening here, folks. So it's got all of the tells for, hey, I'm trying to bottom. What I could see here, though, typical venture capital, and you know, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, this is so crypto. It's not so crypto. It is so venture capital. You know, low liquidity, low institutional participation. Jesus, damn chat crashed again. Fucking Jesus, Christ, Jesus, son of a bitch. This thing drives you nuts. Yeah, look at that. It just quickly zipped right up to... Oh man, there's some major problem with this thing. Sorry, just a second. I would like the chat room on the site to be working here. So. Anyway, we hit the reset button. Hopefully this darn thing will clean itself up. Okay, so back to our story here. Would it surprise me if there was another move just to clean out some weak hands here, and that's your bottom, and then it goes up? Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Do we have a W trying to come in here? Yeah. Is it a good trade location? Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Is this like a kind of thing where if you believe in the story and you believe whoever put the floor in here at 18 cents believes that there is some sort of intrinsic value down here? How you're going to figure that out, that's up to you. I don't know. Is this POS? Is it POW? All that kind of talk. Probably a good idea to have like a really good understanding of the fundamental story of this thing. What is value here? I can't speak to that. All I can do is talk to the chart. Hello, chart. How are you today? Oh, you're doing good? That's nice. There's sort of downtrend lines. So if anything, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that after this, whatever this rally is, and again, this image, this is now a daily chart. This image here is that whole worry that I have about crypto right now and the breadth indicator. Right, because the breadth indicator, wherever the hell it is, this one, right, it is, I mean, it is very one directional. I mean, the whole market has moved one way. A very long time period now. Well over a month almost. That's exactly what this image is. That's just one directional. You can see, in fact, didn't we talk about this in the video today? This looks so familiar. Remember I'd said, I don't know whether you watched the Daily Brief, Ben, or not, but I remember I said, you know, you can see this move here. That's one directional. And then after a while, you know, this thing's just going to run out of steam. Then it's got to go the other direction for a while. So here we are. We've gone one direction for like how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 days. This is getting a little long in the tooth. I wouldn't even be surprised if we look at the indicators. They're all getting overbought. Willie isn't quite overbought, 27. When he gets less than 20, then we know this thing's overbought. So be careful. Interesting, RSI is above the outside Bollinger Band. That in itself would probably have Sjord worried, and a cross back into the band would actually be a sell signal. So can't justify coming in and buying that there. But if anything, you know what this kind of looks like is, I wonder where the hell I have that image. I know I have it around here somewhere. This image. So see this, and then this, and then this. It looks an awful lot like the billiard ball theory. So there to there, then pull back there, then some funny, then pull back there, then up there. So it almost looks like there to there is there to there, there to there is there to there. Then this choppy, and notice it's kind of symmetrical, but there is a pivot low to there is a pivot low, and there's an M in between. So that's all this. And then here is that point, rally up to here is that point, and now we should expect a nice big pullback like here on the other side over here. What do you think, Ben? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Sort of, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that market symmetry.
So what we're missing is we're missing this circle. This circle right here is missing, and it should be over here. And notice, look at these funny little tails, right? I could see them do something like that. Just really break all the kids' hearts that put their stops down below these tails here. In very typical, it's not so much crypto, this is venture capital. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's a penny stock or whether it's a, you know, Schalt coin. Basically they all, it's just the hallmark of venture cap. That's just the way this stuff works. So anyway, so that's my 2 cents on that guy. We're down at the bottom end of the range. So if you're like Nanny Nibble, I believe in the story. I like the fundamentals. I like the directors are all. I know that the directors are long off the bottom. It's got a relatively friendly coin count. It's got some pretty good fundamentals coming down the pike. Well, I don't have a problem with you Nanny Nibbling and just dollar cost averaging your way into here. That's fine. But is this a screaming buy and like, holy shit, I got to go out and buy some of this before the broadcast is over? No, I wouldn't say that. If anything, that was the conversation back here when you saw everything all starting to turn back up here. The W's all coming in. And the rising volume right there, right? So that would have been the point where you'd be like, hey, we got to pay attention. But that's not the way it is right now. So. All right, well, I hope that helps. Next one up on the hit list.
So Fred Drums is asking for RVN in BTC, but I guess we've been doing everything in USD. So
what do you want to do? You want to do USD or you want to do BTC?
I don't know. Maybe just for consistency, do USD.
All right. And do we want to do the tether? We have been doing mostly these tethers recently. It's remarkable, and I always ask you these guys, like, would you believe in Tether right now? Do you think it's like bulletproof?
I think it's got such a big adoption
Okay.
that the it it almost would be really hard to to stop it.
Hmm.
But it does seem like it's kind of cleaning its act up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I personally try to steer clear of it. I still don't 100% believe in it.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just,
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay. I
getting
just
gonna
thought
get
I'd
left
ask.
behind.
It's
Yeah.
everybody's entitled to an opinion. So. All right. Ravencoin versus Tether. One thing I do like about this is it looks like this is going through a very long, orderly correction, which is actually pretty good. Like, technically, this thing is cleaning itself up. It's definitely not overbought, it's not oversold. Yeah, not quite overbought yet. Probably better maybe even look at this like on a weekly. It's got lots of data, so that's kind of cool. I think you can see exactly where you're supposed to be long this thing. So that's right there and right there. So right in this window right here. So it's still a bit expensive. I'm not going to say this is cheap. We have a rule that we don't really want to take a trade unless it gives us market structure on the other side of a trend line. So it's interesting how we're sort of working our way down here. So give me a W. Nope, nope. No, where's the W? Nope, still no W. Nah, maybe. Nope, no W. Nope, no W. So there just isn't any W's here yet, especially if we change this to like a line chart. See, no W's anywhere in sight there. I suppose if you're a bull, you got to be concerned that we've lost this uptrend line, and now you can see the counter trend rally of the uptrend because it tagged it there. Well, not really there, but there, there. Then it went through it, came back up, tried to recapture it, and then was rejected off of it. You really don't want to see an M come in here. If you see an M come in here now, then it means that this story is over for the time being. No real sign of divergence. I mean, there may be a little bit of one in here, probably off the dailies. So that's this. That low looks like it's lower, but that low is higher. And then we broke out through the top there. It's pretty weak, though. It's not really the best looking sign. Volume is heading higher. We've sort of stalled out here recently, so there was a bit of a surge. You would have obviously liked to have seen that high taken out. So, it's nothing really to write home about. Willie's not quite overbought, so he's still got a little bit more room to run. My hunch is we probably come up and kiss this trend line one last time here. Well, not one last time, but again. If this is a bottom, you might find that actually this goes like this. And then breaks out through this line here down the road. Now, I wouldn't be... It's probably not something I'd be interested in. Yeah. I mean, you can see W's. This is where I'd probably want to be interested in. So we're kind of trying to do that, but it's not really going too well. You had this low as a tail. They came down. If anything, this is good where you see a whole bunch of price action here and the sellers just can't punch it any lower. So it turned back up. I would ideally, if I wanted to be bullish, I would like to see a reload zone pullback of this bottom and then get a nice little W down in here. So if you're like, Brian, what's it going to take for you to get bullish, right? I want to see something like that. So there's quite a bit of work to be done here. And also, too, into that May-June time period, this would be a good opportunity for this one to come out and just play against these lows and just see if we want to break any of the kids' hearts and that kind of stuff. So I couldn't buy it there. If I did want to buy it, I'd draw my reload zones and I'd wait patiently for... What is that? Basically about 5 to 6 cents, somewhere in that area. That's what I'd have to do. Not really much else to say here. Yeah. And the scary thing is right, this is the predominant downtrend line. This was the predominant uptrend line. We've lost the uptrend line, so that means that quite literally, as far as I'm concerned, this is your trading range. That's pretty big and ugly. Come on, you. All the way there. There's your trading range. It's huge. And where were those horizontal support and resistance levels? They're down in here. So, you know, we would say like that's like key horizontal support right in there. And then here. So, you know, if you did start getting rolling over here, I mean, the bottom line here is you got to wait. You got to get this kind of price pattern to develop here for us to get bullish again. It's just nowhere in sight. So, to start this off, we've got this low here. We got the counter trend rally, so that's cool. We've got the pullback to test the lows. That's cool. Now, the key here is, can this thing come down, test these lows, and give you the opportunity to get in? If it can, then I think maybe we got something to work with. To buy it right here, you have to fully expect that we have to test these lows at some point down the road. And as I said there a moment ago, ideally what I'd like to see is it do something like that. Then, at that point, I'll go, okay, got a bit of a floor to work with. Let's see what we can do. But for now, hands off. All right, what do you think we should do next? I should answer like that Ukrainian war guy. And with that question answered, we'll move on to the next question. I don't know. He's got a very specific counter. He says every single thing. He says identically the same line. It's just like, wow. How does he do that? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen it. Is it in the chat or?
No. I mean, he's one of these YouTube Ukrainian commentator dude guys.
Okay.
But anyway, so.
All right, gotcha.
War guys, they don't make the funniest comedians, so they're pretty dry.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to joke about, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Silly life. Anyway. All right, who's next on the hit list?
How much time do we have?
I don't know. What do you feel like? How's the little one? She's sleeping like a baby, eh?
Yeah, literally.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I don't care, man. We could just go until we hit the end of the list.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton on the chat. There's a couple of guys who've got a couple in already.
Hey, there's Grim. Yeah, with that being said, we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Oh, that being said, Rocket Chat's down again. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right, so what do we want to do next? Are you enjoying yourself? I haven't even really checked in with you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm just soaking it all in. I thought that that first opening with that concept was great value. So anybody that's just jumped in, dial back and watch over that. There was some class information there, and especially as like a little old lady investor, you know, taking a second to zoom out and look at a weekly chart is always a good perspective to kind of to go from. So I thought that was awesome. And
that's why that weekly commodity trend survey works so well, because the signals are all based off the weekly price charts. And if you got a W on the weekly price charts, I used to always tell that people whenever they first join the site, the only thing that you need to look for when you're a level oneer is weekly W's. That's the only thing I want you looking for. But anyway, that's cool. So you like the little rant there about the weekly commodity trend survey?
Yeah.
And how we can now, John's tricked it out so much, we actually even have like the all the stocks, all the fundamentally screened stocks, and then all the cryptocurrencies and shit. Like, oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool.
Hey, so Brian? Every time my Brian says horse cocks, you got to drink. That's Brian's. But the problem is I swear so much, so we're not really gonna get that many people watching the the video. But I remember I remember Shark Toshi. There was a. Remember Super J? I don't know whether you were on this site when we had a site member Jeremy and. He had the logo Super J, and they used to actually have drinking games over. What was it? I used to say something. It was so funny, and some of them by the end of it, they'd be pissed fucking drunk. Anyway, okay, let's keep moving this train forward. So, what do you think we should do next? Oh my goodness, you're only allowed to ask one millennial insight.
Yeah, I think he's had one yet. So D Josh, I don't think he's had one yet.
All right.
So we could try it.
What should we
Gala,
look
and
at
if
next?
we've got time, we could go back to those guys. So Gala, he's put there.
Gala, Gala.
Yeah, I think this is a gaming.
Well, looks cute. It's not bad. It's not overbought yet, so that's always good. And unfortunately, I don't. The problem is I'm such a cheap ass. I hate when I see prices go lower. Like there's your cheap ass level. Look at that 88.6. Brian tells you that markets love to bottom off 78.6s. Look at that W that came in right off that damn 78.6. And then this is probably a really good example of like a reload zone in a reload zone. So we do that one, and you go, well, nannies can nibble in here. But if anything, this is really cool. Like I showed you earlier, that like reload zone in a reload zone in a reload zone. Check this out. So talk about trade location. So if you guys can learn how to do this, like this is just a double reload zone. Talk about a level, eh? And then watch this. This is totally sick. We'll go down to like the hourlies in that double reload zone. Well, it turns out that that's a triple reload zone. So this is just like Ethereum. So this is the trade location of a lifetime right there. And I mean, look at that, eh? Look how it just bumped along there. Don't mind me. I'm just a little cryptocurrency. And vroom, up she goes. So there was a hell of a trade location right there. That's exactly the same as that. I think it was Ethereum, right? That put in that triple reload zone.
Right? Are you saying 9 times out of 10?
Yeah. Well, damn, triple reload zone, eh? I mean, that's insane. So maybe you wait for the trend line break and you pull the trigger right in here or something. I don't know. But looks to me like this Gala, you should be long from about 20, 21, 22, somewhere in there. That looks to be the level. So what you're rooting for, I suppose, is up in the 40s. Cool thing is now that this thing's put in so many W's, you can start doing fog and bombs. So I might do one against that high there and that low there, which is basically this W. And that gives you 2.618s up in there. 37, so that's going to be awfully close. The doublers, they're going to want up in this sort of low 40s area. And if anything, that would be cool. Because what should happen here is if this really is a bull, then this big W confirms. And all the noobs, of course, they all come piling in right here on the huge W. And you're going to be selling to them a half of your stake to establish that risk-free trade right into their sell or right into their buy orders. That would be ideal. So there you go. It's not a bad looking name. A little bit late. I don't know whether I'd feel comfortable coming in and buying there. You want to maybe, if you're late to this and you're like, well, Brian, I really do want to get in. I mean, hell, you can just draw a simple trend line like that. It's not rocket science, and just say, okay, if I can get any sort of pullback against that trend line, and oh boy, that's probably a reload zone too. Oh, darn. Anyway. there to there. And up there, please and thank you. Still not there. Oh well. There we go. And boom, 61.8, right down in that area. That would be like if you want to work stink bids, trying to come in and buy. I don't know whether you're going to get that or not, but if I wanted to buy, that's what I probably should be doing. Actually, I do like a nice Foggenbaum off of this bottom. This is a really sharp looking bottom here. There, up to there. Oh, interesting. So maybe we've already getting into upside objectives here. Well, maybe a little bit higher here. But I wouldn't be surprised if that 2.618 stalls us out here. We could probably also do a fib going the other direction up to here. Oh, come on, you. Oh, darn. It just won't go down there. There we go. And a reload zone and others. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, so, WD Gann, of course, would say 50% rules. Interesting how Foggenbaums line up with that 50% rule. So I think that's probably your primary objective. Interesting, Collins dump chaser zone. Is this still a bear? Notice this big M. So technically this is a market structure failure level right there. Right off of that level there. So not a big surprise why we were rejected right there. So this is actually a real important battle level here for this market. If I can accept above 38.2, WD Gann, Foggenbaum, interestingly enough, if we do accept above Foggenbaum here, and you can see the fight at Chaos. I mean, it's awfully close. I don't know whether that's been hit or not, but chaotic, chaotic, chaotic. If we accept above, then we should zip up to the next Foggenbaum level up here, and notice that that's basically against that high there. So it's almost like we're battling on whether we're still part of this bear. And if we aren't, and we're breaking above, well, look left, next stop is right up against that high there, which happens to be a Foggenbaum. What I think should happen here from my experience working with Foggies is we should pull back to the breakout here, kind of like what I'm saying with this. We should pull back here, turn back up, and then go up to Foggy over here. Well, we'll see how it goes. Also, too, you've got this big W. So if this does really accept above this level, then really we should be heading up into here. So there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that says this thing wants to get up top here. The only problem is we're coming kind of late to the party. Like, if anything, the people that had the balls to buy down these W's down in here, you want to be taking profits at the 50% level at 2.618. If this is your double, you want to be ringing the register on the doubles. Doesn't look like it's quite that situation. So for the traders, you're not going to quite get off your double. But 50% return is 50%. There's nothing wrong with that. But to be thinking about like strapping on a new position here, looking for higher, that's not really my style. Like I said, I would prefer that we get this pullback down into this zone here, and then we put in a nice W, and we start the whole game all over again. That's what I'd like to see. So. All right, hopefully that helps. I don't know if that's any value or not. It's I mean, it's not a terrible name. On the daily charts, it's kind of meh. I mean, you're in this massive reload zone, but kind of like what I said earlier, could we have a little period in May, June where maybe we just puke right out and come swimming right back against these lows here once this seasonal rally is over? I could easily see that, folks. That's usually what happens. I think I've told you guys before. right around the beginning of May is not really the best place to be thinking about buying. I mean, you saw what happened to fucking crypto last year. It was a fucking train wreck after that. So I don't think it's train wreck, right? If anything, the good part about this is this guy wasn't even around back then. But if anything, I actually like the idea that a lot of names like Doge and stuff are actually going to make their 1 year sort of pivot low into that early May window, and then that's like a bottom. Then we can start hunting the W's, looking for a pretty nice second half to the year. So that would be the way I'm looking at this. Right now, it's kind of no man's land. We just are bumping up against 50% levels. If I was trading this off of the bottom, I'd want to be taking at least some profits here. If I was just nanny nibbling against 78.6s and stuff, then I wouldn't do anything. I would just be like, okay, well, if it pulls back down into these bottoms again, I'll add some more to it. And if we do happen to get a nice little pop, I'll have my sell half on an open order working. And if I get filled, I get filled. Awesome. But I can't really, if I come in here at 30 and buy, then that means I got to see 60 to get my double. That's getting up pretty up toppy. You're probably not going to see that until well into the next bull market. And by the time you're actually making those kind of moves, maybe at that point you're like, well, I don't really want to sell, Brian, because this thing's going to go to the man. So the apples and oranges, Izzy. What I would say here is this is like the value players, and they're going to try and establish risk-free trades on a return to the mean. Kind of like that, that weekly commodity trend survey that I told you before. And dips back down into value levels, they would be considering those buying opportunities. So that's the way I would look at that. All right, that's just a big mess. Hope you got something out of that. Next up on the hit list, maybe why don't we do one more? So, right. Which one should we look at?
Well, the latest one came from TaylorMade.
TaylorMade.
Asking you to look at Hex.
Hex. That's Richard Hart, eh?
Yeah.
I never know. I mean, sometimes I feel like I want to believe in the guy. Other times I feel like, holy fuck, I couldn't trust this guy as far as I could throw him.
Yeah, he's a very dominating character. I wouldn't want to go head to head with him in a conversation.
He's a character, all right. That's for sure. And it's so funny the way that he, there's some people that come into the space and they try to act like they're newly expert at crypto, and he just tears them apart. It's almost funny to watch. So I don't want to go head to head with a guy. Anyway, so where should we look at this thing? Has he made his full on move to decentralized? Because the only centralized exchange it looks like that he's still on is Polo, of all places.
Wow. Okay.
Doesn't that seem a bit bizarre?
Yeah, I haven't seen it on any of the major ones.
Is it okay? Well, Polo, I guess, is where we got to look at it. Yeah, interesting. There's a letter of the alphabet staring us in the face. So, I seem to remember he touted this thing as I can't remember how the story goes. But yeah, I remember he loves his hacks. I know he does.
Yeah.
It's not really, there's not a hell of a lot I can say about something like this. I do find it a bit odd that is it under a different symbol or a different name or something? It does seem a bit odd that we're not getting anything other than DeFi here. I mean, hell, does Trex not even have them? That seems a bit odd. Nothing, eh? Anyway. Of these...
is Uniswap a place you could do it? It's just for analysis, for a bit more history.
There you go. Okay, so there's a bit more data. That's good. Looks like there was a... Geez, you don't see that every day. What kind of candle is that? And look, it happened again here. So that's a bit odd. I don't see it really anywhere else. What kind of candle? Let's see. Ben, does that not ring a bell?
engulfing bar.
Yeah, but look how this is. Oh, this is a daily chart. Let's see what it looks like on there. So it didn't show up on a weekly. So just a reference. I'm a big fan of engulfing bars, and if it engulfs two previous candles, that's a pretty big buy signal. There's an example of a weekly key reversal, and this is on Tesla. And look what the damn thing's done. So those engulfing bars, they're pretty damn powerful. If it was a weekly one, I would fall off my chair, but this is just a daily one, so it's not that big of a deal. But still, wow, that sure jumps out at me. That's pretty big, eh? So I get the impression there's some sort of floor down here. I suppose, we always say wicks and tails like to be eaten. So interesting how that's basically into that tail, eh? Suppose you could also argue too, Wyckoff or Benkoff check for that matter, right there. So there's a Benkoff check for you, buddy. It's not really the best Benkoff check, but it works. Don't like the fact that they took out these lows, because that makes a big honkin' M. So, suppose you could argue that the uptrend will start when we get a W on the other side of this downtrend line. So, what a great analogy, eh? Don't touch this. Don't touch it. Don't touch. Oh boy, no, don't touch. Oh no. And then look at this, eh? Look how it just walks its way down that damn trend line. Just drive you crazy. So do we actually, interesting how that key reversal bar stopped right at the trend line, eh? And down and up. So do we actually have a W on the other side of this trend line yet? I don't think so. If anything, what I'd love to see now is you have this sort of smatterings of a new uptrend. It's not much, but it's a little one right there. So what you'd really love to see is, notice how there's a gap right there, right? So you can kind of see, looks like a trade level is trying to set up here. So I don't know whether this is our high or not, but yeah. Can you see how this reload zone is lining up here? There's a bunch of reasons to be a buyer in here. Be interesting to see what the fundamental reasons for this market pivoting, especially that massive key reversal bar. So I would say there's a gap right here. Actually, I even have that. I would note on the charts, I would say, hey, that's a gap. Just like that. Reload zone. There's a key reversal that's been confirmed. So clearly the market is trying to speak to us. So what I'd love to see is, there is that downtrend line. We'd love to see the market come back down, put in some sort of bottom, some sort of W on the other side of this downtrend line, and hey, we got a new bull market to work with. So if anything, it's close. And then also too, this, maybe this goes on for a little while. Keep in mind that, I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out. I do like the idea that there's some sort of peak in crypto around 420, and then there's a big trough through like the middle to the end of June. So I don't know how this looks. Do we go down? Whoops. That's not what I wanted. Do we go down, then up, then maybe something like that? I could see something like that. Wouldn't be shocking. Do we just go straight down into this level, put in a nice W, and rally up into 420? And maybe this is a huge high. Then pull back into May, June. I could see that. Point here is if I wanted to be a buyer, I think that's your level right there. Pretty straightforward. And if anything, I like when you have these massive key reversals and that big tail and then all these lows in here. This thing's trying to tell you that there's some sort of base here. So if you're going to take a shot, this isn't a terrible place to take a shot. Remember, we're institutional players. We want to buy down markets. We want to look left. We want to see where the big players previously said stop going down, go up, stop going down, go up. Looks like there's a bunch of reasons down in this window down in here. I don't know whether that means I can justify paying up here. But anywhere down in this area, it's not a bad price. And like I said, I think the coup de grace, and you might find, because like I said, I would not be surprised if these lows are seriously fucked with, excuse my French. And it's not so much Mr. Hard, it's the market. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get something that looks like that. Or maybe even something into these lows that looks like that. That wouldn't surprise me. The key here is we just want to see a W on the other side of this trend line. We really don't want to see this uptrend line lost too badly, though. So if anything, it would be better if it was like up here. Right? And then we can recapture this trend line, move higher. But what we really want to see is, can I please have some sort of W on the other side of this trend line? Just wait for it. There's no hurry. So that's my thoughts there. Okay, so we've been going now for about 2.5 hours. And the site server is down again. Woohoo! Man, this is fucking awesome. I'll try and refresh that again. How many times have I done? Uh-oh, is she getting up? Oh, I thought I saw. Anyway, why don't we leave it at that? Hope you got some value out of all the different names that I looked at here tonight. As I've told people repeatedly, this is sort of the whole purpose of, I'm kind of running out of steam here, student of life. Maybe next week I'll help you out. Come on by, ask for us to do a review, and I'll be more than happy to look at your name. But I am feeling a bit exhausted now, so. The only thing I'll leave off with is we did do this page as kind of an attempt to try and help us fund the Decentraland booth that we wanted to have up and running, to basically have these videos playing 24/7. So if you feel like you got some value out of this, we do have a nice little ETH donation wallet address. Feel free to contribute. All of those funds that go into that go directly into buying and building our Mana booth in Decentraland. So appreciate your participation. Hope you got some good value out of something I said tonight. And if nothing less, I hope you enjoyed the comic stylings of Ben. I don't even know what Ben's last name. Ben B. Right.
BB is a good.
BB, there you go. Another BB.
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't even make the connection before. That makes sense. I guess we'll leave. I don't know. Do we want to leave all the predictions and all that crap until maybe one or two of the boys come back?
Yeah, we can wait.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts for these good people here tonight, sir?
Yeah, I'd just say, just in case you forget, make sure you said some positivity Brian's way for him and the boy.
Oh, hey. Oh, thank you, sir. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Fucking A. That's cool. Thank you for remembering.
Sure.
That's cool. Yes. Everybody, if you could just maybe, usually I go to pick them up around noon Pacific time, so I don't know what time that is. But just close your eyes, give a nice little positive thought. Liam, enjoy life. Enjoy the fruits of everything that we have here in the Pacific Northwest, and maybe go easy on your dad. Something like that. I tell you, man, when Liam's pissed off and he lets loose, oh my God, he's a fucking hurricane. That's apropos for you.
Yeah, don't say that word around here.
All right, yeah, we don't want to. It's not knock on wood, right? All right, everybody, have yourselves a great night. Thank you so much, Ben, for your awesome help this evening. Hope you got some value out of that. We'll be watching for the baby powder report on the site tomorrow morning. And of course, remember, next, I think it's Tuesday, is the 4th of April. If you, honestly, from, a father, a guy who's running a company and trying to be a good mentor to hundreds, if not thousands of people around the trading world, and, YouTube pages and all that kind of fun stuff. If you're in a situation where you're confronted and you have the choice about whether to take sort of the violent or aggressive approach, or maybe you have the choice to try and de-escalate, as we're heading into this insane event, just look around you and appreciate that all these other humans don't know about this stuff. And so that they don't appreciate that they're actually extremely vulnerable right now. And so maybe just give them a little bit of empathy. If you want to shit on somebody's head, just say, you know what? I'm not going to shit on your head right now because it might turn into a goddamn knife fight or a shooting match or something. I'm just going to wait a week until after the 4th, a week following that. Then I'm going to shit on the person's head. Whatever. All I'm saying here is we got a very, very tough window coming up here, the whole human species. And I think, if anything, let's all just, let's all plan that we're going to be here 1 week from now, watching our Brian do his fun little rants. And if you can choose not to get into a conflict over the next week, I think it's in your best interest to make that choice. All right. Okay, have yourselves a great afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much, Ben, for your participation. And the only thing left for Ben to say tonight